Hello?
Hey, Adam?
Yes.
Yeah, Jason Soulnier here.
Jason, how are you?
Your big fan here.
How's it? Doing all right?
Yes, how are you doing?
Good, actually. We just had a sort of slight earthquake here in LA, but other than that, it seems to be okay. All sort of calmed down a bit.
Well, that's not good. An earthquake.
No, it's the first first one I've sat through. That's for sure.
Well, I hope you're all right and everyone else.
Yeah, it seems to be. Everyone on the news, it seems to be pretty good.
How's your projects with Headspace going?
Good. We've been writing. We've been off for the last couple of months from the Aussie tour, so just been busy in the studio with the band, with Headspace, getting the first album kind of into shape. We've got about another 2 tracks to kind of finish off, and then we should be hopefully recording towards the end of the year.
How's the tours when you play with that band?
It was great. I mean, we haven't done that many shows with Headspace. We did, what did we do? We did 3 or 4 of the European shows with Ozzy, supporting Ozzy, Wembley Arena, and in London, and Birmingham Indoor Arena, which was great. It was good to air some of the material, because we hadn't had any releases since before the shows, so people weren't familiar with the music. So it was good to kind of get a feedback from people. So it was cool. Good response from the Aussie crowd. You know, they were all good, and a lot of people didn't know that I was playing keyboards in Ozzy's band as well. So that was quite interesting, reading on a few message boards. You know.
And I'm sure after this, they know that you're an Ozzy Osbourne group. It gives you more support.
Yeah, I think the Aussie kind of fans are so dedicated. They're kind of, they're good, true music fans. So they're kind of, if they like it, then it's a good sign, you know.
How's a day in the life of Adam Wakeman?
Well, today is a pretty relaxed day, really. I'm kind of in Los Angeles for about another 4 or 5 days before I've got really anything to do with Ozzy, and then we head up to Dallas ready for the next show. But today's quite a relaxed day. I've got an acoustic guitar. I'll probably do a bit of writing, a bit of playing, and then go out and grab some dinner with some friends. I'm actually going to bump into Tony Iommi is in town at the moment, so I'm going to go and have dinner with him tonight.
Excellent.
And catch up with a bit of the Sabbath news and the Heaven and Hell news. See what they've been up to.
So you played with Black Sabbath also in the past?
I did, yeah. I did 2004, 2005, I think it was, when Ozzy was back in the fold. It was great. That was my first my first outing with Ozzy was with Sabbath. It's quite strange looking back on that. How when I was a kid, I would play in sort of pubs and school bands, playing Paranoid and Black Sabbath and songs like that, where had to kind of pinch myself when we started the tour, and I was actually playing those songs with Ozzy and Tony and Geezer and Bill.
And how did you get the gig in Black Sabbath?
Originally, I was on tour with Annie Lennox. I was playing keyboards with Annie Lennox back in 2003, and we played in Los Angeles. And our tour manager at the time, a guy called Tony Wiggins, who now works for a company, 19 Management, he was tour managing us, and he'd tour managed Sabbath many, many years ago. And he said, "Oh, Sharon Osbourne's in the audience. She'd like to meet you." And I said, "Oh, that's coincidence, because I'd love to meet her. Obviously, the history is there with my dad, who played on Sabbath Bloody Sabbath." Mm-hmm. Many moons back, and so I met Sharon and had a nice chat to her, and got on with her really well. And then I just got an email about 6 months later saying, Ozzy was going out on tour and looking for a keyboard player. Would I be interested? And at the time, I was actually playing with a band called Travis, a British band, and I was actually contracted for a tour, so I couldn't do the tour, which was a shame. And that then coincided with Ozzy having his his motorbike accident. Mm-hmm. So the tour was cancelled anyway. Unfortunately, the time it came round again when he was ready to tour, I'd finished my commitments with Travis and was able to jump on the tour, which was great.
That's
and that was the Sabbath tour. That was the first Sabbath tour.
How's a day in the life of Adam Wakeman while you're actually playing a show?
The show days are kind of generally, if we're in the middle of the, if we're touring, it's generally we arrive the day before the show in the town, so we would get there the night before, so the morning would be kind of, pretty lazy morning. I'm normally on the phone back home because my family, my wife and my daughter are back in England, so the morning is normally an hour or so on the phone back home, checking in, making sure the family are all well, and then normally an hour in the gym, and then head off to the show. If it's a festival, we try and get to the festival early so we can catch some of the other bands and stuff. But normally we get down there about 5 o'clock.
Excellent.
A quick sound check maybe, and then just get ready for the show.
You good buddies with Zakk Wylde?
Yeah, Zakk's great. He's he's one of a kind, that's for sure. He's an amazing guitar player and a larger than life character. He's great. He's good to be around. He's a legend. He's great to sort of have someone like that around. It just really makes things makes never a dull moment when Zakk's around.
I'm sure. Yes. I remember when you guys were in Halifax, when I met you guys, and Zakk Wylde goes in his own tour bus.
Yes.
And you guys drive with the band tour bus?
Yeah, we've got, generally there's kind of three. There's Ozzy has his bus, then Zakk has his bus, and then Mike Blasco and myself have a bus. Zakk's always got a lot of people travelling with him, so it just gets too crowded if we're all on the same bus. And Ozzy likes to travel separately because obviously Sharon and his family come out, so it's kind of it's good because we're all kind of. It's not like one of those bands where you just don't see each other. We all see each other, and we all hang out at the gig, and we all hang out on days off. So it's nice to kind of you still have that connection with everybody, but you just get the luxury of travelling in sort of a bit more comfort, really. Halifax was fantastic. I was just looking at some pictures the other day from when we were in Halifax, and it was we had a good. That was an unusual situation in Halifax as well because we had a few days off. Obviously, it was 2 shows, and we had we arrived early, so we had a couple of days before the show started to actually get to know a city, which was great because we don't normally have that luxury.
Do you remember meeting me?
I do. I remember. I've met an awful lot of people in Halifax. It was fantastic. It was, as I say, just being able to get there early was great because I did get to meet a few people and check out many of the bars, obviously.
Ah, excellent. For Ozzy Osbourne, do you get to mingle with him and chit chat and stuff, or is it mostly he's on his side?
No, we as I say, we all kind of if there's time on days off when Ozzy's kind of schedule is much more hectic than ours. He's often doing interviews and photos and things like that. So once or twice a tour we all go out to dinner, which is nice, and we all we see each other when we can. When we get to the gig, it's always better. We always have a bit of time to all sort of get together and have a chat about the day and stuff. But yeah, he's a great guy to work for.
You guys have intensive sound checks, or is it mostly on the spot sound checks?
Not at all, really. We tend to sound check at the start of a tour, and then the rest of it is just line checked by the crew, and away we go. I mean, it's so precise. Everything's kind of set up. All the desks are digital, so if things are just the same, you just arrive and it's the same. Especially with with the digital desks, it's just a case of plugging them in and turning them on, and that's and you should have the same monitors as the last show. Maybe slightly different depending on the room if it's an outdoor gig, and there's a few changes, but generally we don't really even sound check once the tour's sort of started. We kind of I might just go up and check my equipment, but that's just a kind of personal thing, really. I've always wanted to just make sure I've physically seen my equipment working.
Yes, I understand.
Not that I don't trust my techs, they're great guys, and it's just a personal thing. I always like just to make sure all the lights are on, really.
When you guys play in big venues, let's say, do you guys sometimes have different equipment that you're not playing with usually, or is it always your equipment?
Well, it's funny you should say that. Normally, it's the same, it's exactly the same equipment, unless something malfunctions that needs replacing, We just had a situation up in Calgary where some of my equipment had gone missing, so we had to hire equipment in, but we managed to get the same, exactly the same equipment in, and I have backups of all my sounds, so I could just load them in, and it didn't affect the show, but for a moment there was a little bit of a panic because obviously we had to try and locate the equipment that was missing in action.
Do you guys record all your shows?
We did on the last tour. Actually, we did. Yeah, we recorded. I'm pretty sure every show. I've only heard little bits of it, but it's a great thing to whether anything will ever come out of a live album or anything. I don't know, but it's it's very cost effective now to record a lot of shows. In the past, you'd have to get a big recording rig out every show, and it would be very expensive. But nowadays you can buy a big Pro Tools rig and actually carry it around and record every show, and it's not it's not ridiculously expensive, and it's a good way of kind of just cataloguing the tour. It's it's a good thing to have.
Yeah, very good. Have you ever seen any Randy Rhoads footage that Ozzy might be having hidden in his archives?
I haven't. No, I've never seen anything. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they record every tour like this. I think it's this is the first tour they've recorded every show. No, I haven't. I've not seen any kind of hidden secret footage, unfortunately.
You a big Randy Rhoads fan?
Yeah, I mean, he's an inspiration, wasn't he? I mean, obviously Zakk's Zakk's the man. If you start talking about Randy Rhoads, he'll you might as well tick off a weekend or at least a week. You could have a long conversation, with Zakk about him. That's for sure.
Yeah, I had a great chat with him about Randy Rhoads. And,
oh, cool.
In Halifax, and he knows his stuff, and he's very appreciative on him. Are you going back to England? When?
I go back after the Dallas show, and start back in the studio again with Headspace and get some. Hopefully get the rest of the album tied up and all the songs finished. And then I'm not really sure what's going to happen. I mean, we want to record the album towards the end of the year. I might take a little bit of time off because I've been away quite a lot, the last year. And then just see what's happening with Ozzy. I mean, he's always busy. He's always keeping us busy. So just look forward to the next thing. Whether it's a tour, whether they're going to start the album or what. Just wait to hear, really.
When you figured the new album's going to come out?
I mean, I'm guessing that they'll probably start it towards the end of the year. I mean, and then so I'm guessing be out sort of towards the summer next year. I mean, I'm not really 100% sure. That's definitely a watchozzy.com for information on that one. That's for sure.
For sure. You have any bloopers on the Ozzy tour, or Ozzy have any bloopers?
Any disasters? Or?
Yeah.
No, it was pretty non-eventful on the disaster front. I think we've got a really good crew around us, and they keep any disasters like that to a minimum, and certainly certainly we haven't been told of any. Whether there was any and they kept them quiet, I don't know. But no, I mean Ozzy sang great for the tour, and it was I think it's the first tour. There were no. I know there was one cancellation right at the start of the tour, but that show was put back in, I think. So it was 107 shows. Over a year we played, which is incredible. He's the man's got amazing stamina, and he's in great health, which is great for all of us. It means we can all enjoy kind of long tours.
Yeah, and having a job.
And having a job, you know, I mean, you know, if you've got to do a job, this is definitely the one.
Yeah, for sure, the dream job.
I always, you know, I never take it for granted. You know, every day I'm just happy to be playing music, and you know, extremely happy to be, you know, playing with a great bunch of people, and you know, it just makes my job just incredibly easy. You know, the only difficulty is being away from the family. You know, that's a difficult. Yeah, when I don't know if I was even around when that was all going on.
It would have been in 2005.
When yeah, because I didn't even realise Zakk was not in the band then. I didn't even realise they were looking for new guitar players back then.
Yeah, in 2005 they were looking for a new guitar player to replace Zakk, and Zakk got the job again, and
right,
that continues.
Yeah, well, he's certainly you know, he's part of the Aussie sound. You know, he'd be a difficult person to replace, I think.
Unless they're looking for new blood, of course.
Yeah, there is that. You never know.
How's Blasco these days?
Blasco's great. He's always extremely busy. He's got he manages bands as well. He's got a management company.
Right.
So he manages In This Moment, which is probably their biggest band at the moment, which they've just finished recording their second album. They were out on the Ozfest and a lot of the tour that we did, the Black Rain tour, which was great. They're a great band. I think there's going to be a lot more of them in the future.
How many gifts do you receive at a concert, let's say, like backstage?
Not that many actually. I mean, Ozzy gets quite a few bits and pieces, but no, not generally. Not. We get a lot of CDs to listen to, which we try and listen to as many as we can. But generally, not that many. I don't think it's the band for gifts. You know, when if it was NSYNC or you know, or Justin Timberlake, maybe there'd be a few more teddy bears around. But
right.
No, it's not really. It doesn't seem to be that kind of band. I mean, most people are very keen to sort of send CDs and stuff, which, as I say, we always try and listen to. It's much easier when we're on a bus, you know, when we can kind of, you know, we've got long journeys and we can listen to CDs. So we do try and listen to everything, whether we actually, you know, reply to everybody is more down to sort of time.
I understand. And Mike Borden, how's his schedule?
He's great. He's on good form. He's back home for this period between the two shows. He's great. You know, he's such a nice guy. He's you know, one of the nicest guys I know. He's just so easy to get along with, and he's got time for everybody. And you know, you can just see a lot of the other bands, especially on Ozfest, you know, really respect him. And he's always got a few of the other drummers coming over and you know, just showing their respect really. But he's a great man, a great drummer.
Yeah, he is, and he played with great bands too in the past. Ozzy being one of them.
Indeed, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know, I never got to see Faith No More, unfortunately. That was one of the. I've seen a few live DVDs and clips and things, but yeah, I'd love to have seen them actually. You know, back in the day would have been great. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they'll come out maybe they'll be one of the bands that will come out for a reunion.
Yeah, that'd be a big reunion too.
Yeah, it would be.
Faith No More. Well, you have a very good day.
I will do, Jay. It's nice to talk to you, and I'll catch up with you again soon.
Yeah, you have a great tour. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.